There are cities that grow because of money. There are cities that grow because of power. And then there are rare places that grow because people never stopped asking questions. Oxford is one of those places. Long before modern skyscrapers rose across the world, before electricity lit our streets, before airplanes crossed the skies, this city was already alive with thought. The sound of footsteps and stone paths, the turning of pages inside candlelit rooms, and the quiet determination of students searching for meaning shaped this place for centuries. The University of Oxford is not simply a university, it is a living conversation between the past and the future. For nearly 1,000 years, people have arrived here carrying dreams, larger than themselves. Some came from royal families, others came with almost nothing, but they all came with one thing in common: curiosity. And curiosity built Oxford. Walking through this city today feels like walking through layers of human history. Every narrow lane, every archway, every library wall seems to whisper stories of people who once stood here wondering who they could become. Oxford's beginnings reach back to the 12th century. Teaching existed here long before the modern world even imagined what a university should look like. Over time, colleges were built across the city, not hidden away from the people, but woven directly into Oxford itself. That is what makes Oxford so extraordinary. The university is not separated from the city. The city breathes through the university, and the university breathes through the city. Students cycle beside ordinary workers, professors walk past cafes and bookstores. Ancient libraries stand beside busy streets filled with conversations in dozens of languages. Oxford reminds us that education was never meant to live only inside classrooms. True learning belongs among people, among life itself. For centuries, some of the world's greatest thinkers passed through these streets. Writers who changed literature, scientists who changed humanity's understanding of the universe, leaders who shaped nations, philosophers who challenged the deepest questions of existence. But Oxford's true greatness is not only in famous names. Its greatness lies in something quieter. It lies in the belief that knowledge matters, that ideas matter, that a human mind, when trained with discipline and imagination, can change the world. Oxford survived wars, it survived political revolutions, it survived moments when entire civilizations changed direction, and still the lamps inside its libraries remained lit. Imagine the generations before us, young students sitting late into the night, struggling to understand mathematics, poetry, philosophy, medicine, or law. They were not so different from us today. They feared failure. They doubted themselves. They hoped their lives would mean something. That is the beautiful thing about Oxford. It makes history feel human. This city teaches us that greatness is not created in a single moment. It is built slowly, through years of reading, questioning, listening, failing, trying again, and refusing to give up. Oxford was never perfect. Like every old institution, it carried traditions shaped by different eras. In earlier centuries, education here was accessible only to a small part of society, but history moved forward and Oxford moved with it. Today, students arrive from across the world, from villages, cities, islands, mountains, and every imaginable background. Different accents echo through the same ancient courtyards. Different cultures sit together in the same lecture halls. And that transformation matters because modern Oxford is not only preserving history, it is participating in the future. The university now stands at the center of research that affects millions of lives, from medicine to artificial intelligence, from climate science to literature. Oxford continues to influence the modern world in ways most people never fully see. During moments of global crisis, Oxford researchers worked to develop life-saving medical breakthroughs. Scientists, doctors, historians, economists, engineers, and writers all continue contributing ideas, that shape governments, technologies, and societies. But perhaps Oxford's greatest lesson is this: knowledge alone is not enough. Intelligence without humanity becomes cold. Achievement without compassion becomes empty. The spirit of Oxford at its best has always been about using education not only to advance oneself but to understand others more deeply. That is why people continue to feel something special when they visit this city. Even if you never studied here, even if you only walked through its streets for a single afternoon, Oxford awakens something inside you. It reminds you that human beings are capable of extraordinary thought, creativity, and imagination, and maybe that is what makes this city timeless. Because Oxford is ultimately not about buildings. Yes, the architecture is beautiful, the libraries are magnificent, the towers and domes seem almost dreamlike. But stone alone cannot inspire people for nearly 1,000 years. What inspires people is the invisible energy left behind by generations of learners. You feel it while standing quietly beside an old library. You feel it in the sound of church bells across the city. You feel it in the determination of students walking quickly through the rain carrying books and hopes for the future. Oxford reminds us that education is not merely about getting a degree. It is about becoming larger than your fears. It is about discovering how much more there is to learn. It is about realizing that wisdom begins the moment we admit we do not know everything. In a world now dominated by speed, distractions, and constant noise, Oxford still offers something rare: depth. This city invites people to slow down and think carefully, to read deeply instead of quickly, to debate respectfully instead of shouting, to appreciate silence, reflection, and patience. That may sound old fashioned today, but perhaps the modern world needs those qualities more than ever. The city of Oxford itself also carries a remarkable balance between tradition and modern life. It is ancient yet alive, historic yet youthful, peaceful yet intellectually energetic. Students gather in cafes, discussing ideas late into the evening. Cyclists move through streets that existed centuries before cars were invented. Tourists arrive searching for beauty, while researchers inside laboratories work on technologies that may shape the next century. Very few places in the world hold both history and future so closely together. And maybe that is why Oxford continues to capture human imagination across generations. People do not come here only to see buildings, they come here searching for possibility. They come because Oxford represents something larger than geography. It represents the enduring belief that learning can elevate human civilization, that books still matter, that ideas still matter, that thoughtful people still matter. And perhaps most importantly, Oxford reminds us that no matter where we come from, the human mind has no fixed limit. Somewhere in the world right now, a young person is reading a book and dreaming of studying here one day. Another person is walking through hardship while secretly hoping education might transform their future. Another is discovering poetry, science, or philosophy for the first time. Oxford stands as proof that those dreams are worth protecting, not because everyone must attend this university, but because every society needs places that honor learning, imagination, and intellectual courage. As the centuries continue, Oxford will change again. New technologies will emerge, new generations will arrive. The world itself will transform in ways we cannot predict. But if this city continues to protect the spirit of curiosity, humility, and human thought, then Oxford will never truly grow old, because the real Oxford is not only found in libraries or lecture halls. The real Oxford lives wherever people continue asking difficult questions, seeking truth, and believing that knowledge can still improve the human story. And perhaps that is why, after all these centuries, people still walk through Oxford with wonder in their eyes, not because it belongs to the past, but because it continues to speak to the future.